Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Business with a servant's heart. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk on life. Our guest will share his life story. We want you to success in life. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk on life. We're gonna talk on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are gonna witness. Business with a servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Business with a servant's heart. Listen to the podcast.
Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. Every episode is an invitation, a reminder that business and life isn't just about profit, it's about purpose. It's about showing up with a servant's heart in every deal and every decision, every day to make a powerful impact on others. Today's guest is going to light you up. You'll be motivated, you'll be challenged, and most importantly, you're going to walk away with tools that inspire action both in your life and the lives of others. Audience, here's your homework. How will you serve yourself and others today? Doesn't have to be a big impact. Even a small act of kindness or courage can change the game. So lean in, take notes. Shout out to my two sponsors, A Mind for All Seasons. Your brain is your greatest competitive edge, and it deserves to perform like one. Want to think faster, remember more, and stay focused longer? Just text the word optimize to 72000. Optimize to 72000 and get instant access to 6 short, powerful videos, each just 3 to 5 minutes, that reveals simple strategies to unlock peak mental performance. Because when your brain is clear, your business grows. And Epic Impact, the storytelling system that helps your message connect and convert, it's just 4 steps. Engage, persuade, inspire, close with clarity. I use it every day for all my messages. Try it free at epicimpact.ai with code STEVE. Change your messages, change your results. Excited to announce Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast was named top 6 in small business marketing. Thank you all of you, my guest and my audience. You've impacted so many people. Let's continue doing that. Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona, and I'm so excited you're here because guess what? Love, empathy, and AI. Do those words usually go together? Sometimes they don't. But we're going to talk about how we can use that with your marketing and incorporate the big elephant in the room, AI, to really bring love and love your clients, love your prospects, love your competitors, which you should be doing. So with that being said, let's bring our guest. Steve, welcome to the show.
Great to be here. I'm excited to talk about this. We had a good pre-show conversation, so I feel like we just need like a couple of beers and be sitting back just chatting for an hour.
A couple of beers, cheeseburger, and onion rings, man. We're gold, man. That's fantastic. Yeah. Let's jump into this, your podcast, because it's bliss business, love in business. And I started the show with this. Why did you start it, and what kind of guests are you getting?
So yeah, for us, BLISS is kind of an acronym that stands for Build Love into Scalable Systems. And really what this is about is trying to help businesses not just have these random acts of kindness, but systemize acts of kindness, because we think businesses can make a massive impact by doing this. And so for the podcast, we are bringing in CEOs and authors and business consultants that are kind of telling the same story in some way or another, that have examples of systems or little ways that they're building a little bit of love in their business. They aren't saying the love word, but they, they'll walk around it until I ask them at the end of every show. It's like, what's the role of love in business? Yeah. And then I get the silence for a moment and say, that's a good question. But no, we're talking about, caring for employees and empathy and a lot of these other words that are, love centric, basically. Yeah. That's the language of business in this area. But it's been great. It's been a great journey, for sure. We're hoping talking about it really is going to help cause a ripple effect, like your podcast as well, as we can bring up these conversations. It can impact other people and ultimately, make work a little more exciting and meaningful for people.
Well, let me ask you, can a business have love in their culture and still be successful?
Absolutely. I think almost all the data will point to this in some way or another. If you're looking at it, like just look up anything empathy and related to your business, and it'll show stats, um, that your business is going to be doing better for it. But for us on the marketing side, what we understand is that if you can build an emotional connection with your customer, you're going to have 306% greater lifetime value than just a satisfied customer. So really, it's like, how do you get to that emotional connection? And does come down a lot of times to, kindness and love and things like that, and having these positive sort of consumption emotions when they're experiencing your product or service, and really taking an empathetic approach to how you operate with your customers. Because that's for us is the ultimate in marketing, is when you can build that emotional connection, your customers then become your biggest advocates. Those are the ones, telling their friends about it. They're your best marketers. So there's so many different stats on this, and we just talk about it all the time. It's kind of amazing that turns out that doing good, doing the right thing is often always the most profitable way to go.
Authentic data is important. I just say data is always right, and it's not. Authentic data is right, genuine data, whatever words you want to use. So let's talk about, because I love doing business service hard. That part is the customer, you said. But let's talk about the people inside the business. Because, I screw up and, I don't get sales for a month. You can come at me, hey, Steve, I'm going to fire you if you don't get sales, or, marketing guy, hey, our sales aren't increasing because you're not doing your job. How do we bring love into negative situations in a company?
Yeah, I actually think this is kind of a major problem, because if you look at statistics right now, worldwide, only 1 in 5 employees are engaged at work, right? The other 4 in 5 are disengaged. Some of those actively so, you know, doing things counterproductive to your business. And really, a lot of that is because people don't find meaning or purpose in what they're doing.
Mm.
They're feeling that, they're coming up to the computer every day or something, and they're hooking the mouse right up to their vein, I think, and it's just sucking the life, right out of them day after day. 8 hours a day. You can't wait till Friday. You can't wait till you're done with whatever you're working on. And it's just this miserable slog that we're putting ourselves through, and it doesn't have to be that way. We're kind of seeing businesses moving from this, transactional sort of relationship to now trying to build more of a transformational relationship with people at work. And if you want engagement, you really do have to start focusing on these foundational things of what's our higher purpose here? What are we really doing? And once you're able to articulate kind of that higher purpose, then you're able to kind of tell a story that everyone can get along with, go along with. You're all rowing in the same direction. And the difference too with that, like, especially if once you realize you're in service to people in some other higher level, the energy just changes. Everything just changes for you. Now you're kind of passionate about what you're doing. And, you were talking about doing 5 podcasts a day. You've got that kind of energy. You're able to do that just because you love it so much. It doesn't feel like, the work that it can be sometimes. If you hated that, you'd just be like, this is a grind. I'm done. That's why the average podcast doesn't get past what, 7, 8 episodes probably. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think there's a lot of ways we can really work on internally helping our employees, you know, be better humans. And I think that's really, in a lot of ways, what our Bliss approach is about, because you start auditing your business by love. You're like looking at all your systems, you're looking at internally, how you treat employees, you're looking at your leadership. Are they being empathetic? Are they, are you teaching everybody about emotional intelligence and how to get along with each other and, be active that way? So you start auditing everything in your business by love. And what turns out, little by little, a little makes a lot. And you start building this culture that people love coming to. We actually won an award this year, just a month ago, for Business of the Year for applied gratitude at our work, because
Jeez.
we've been auditing our business like this for really since I kind of articulated Bliss in 2018. We've been auditing our business that way, inside and out. And just yesterday, I'm still auditing the process of, it's like, hey, how do we call it blissing? How do we bliss this one little thing? And, every employee from top to bottom, we're always kind of asking, if we don't know what to do, it's like, what is the loving thing to do with their business? And for me, as CEO, if I can have every employee just thinking that way, I know I don't have to be everywhere. I don't have to micromanage. I'm letting our purpose be the boss here. And so that's really a huge difference maker. Because I'm not, on top of people or doing anything. I'm kind of trying to make them, better at what they do, loving what they do. How can I help them? And like you said, if there's some problem, like you mentioned, like in the sales or something like that, ultimately I think of that as my fault some way. I didn't have system set up, I didn't have training set up, or not enough accountability in some way or another. I wasn't, doing well in that. So how can I fix that? And that's our initial approach to any kind of problem like that.
I'm going to do a double entendre if that's the right word. I just love saying that because I love what you're saying. The message about love, I guess it is, because here's the thing: if you have a bad apple, employees just showing up late, and that's not love. Love is getting people or serving people. It's letting them go because it's affecting that love culture, that blissful culture that you want to build and are building with people. So I want people to know that, and make your employees be better humans. I'm going to borrow that. That is powerful.
Yeah, it's interesting about, like you brought up like that bad apple example. Once you start thinking this way and building this culture in your work, and this is what I've noticed, is that any kind of old behavior you may have had or something where you may have knee-jerk reaction, it sticks out so much that you almost self-correct even if you have your own dysfunctions or whatever, but now you're kind of a little bit more self-aware and you're working on things, about yourself. So it's really kind of a fascinating thing when, people are cared for and stuff, and they know it's like a safe place that, yeah, okay, yeah, I did mess up there. I went back to kind of an old behavior, but it sticks out. It's really fascinating to me, how the culture can almost course correct people as well.
I'm glad you corrected me in a way you did, because you're right. Culture can change people. If they're really bad people at another company come to a culture they love, they're going to start adapting that. It's power. That's why this is bigger than people think. And you're successful. Your company is successful, right? Success is measured differently, but you're successful. You're not homeless. You're not struggling to pay. I don't want to speak, but and the
No,
point, my point. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, we're financially successful, but that's the other thing too, is how do we define success? So the other way is something like that award we got this year for applied gratitude. I mean,
Yeah,
to us, that's success. It's not just the financial thing. It's even if someone leaves us, we want to make sure they're leaving us for an unbelievable opportunity that we helped create, with them. Um, and I'll tell you what, Steve, I've had multiple employees leave, but actually come back just because of that culture. So it's like, it's love's the very strong gravity in business, and we're all kind of fighting it, and we just don't realize that we're fighting it.
I'm glad you said that, because my whole point, I talk to people like, you serve, you're special. I don't know if I can serve. First, everybody can love and everybody can serve. You got a heartbeat, like I said before the show. But you can be successful financially. And I'm not saying you're going to be a billionaire, but because people come to me, oh, yeah, that all sounds great, but I got to pay bills. Well, we all have to pay bills. That's living life, but you can pay those bills and still have love and still be successful with that. There's this, I know it's an acronym, AICMO in 60 seconds. I've read. What is that? I'm very curious.
So, so it's the AI Chief Marketing Officer. And so what we're trying to build with that, that's our software. You can go to aicmo.io.
Okay.
But what we're trying to build with that is marketing that starts with pulling out your higher purpose of your business. What is your authentic higher purpose? Why are you doing actually what you're doing? Why are you really doing it? And let's tell that story. And we can use AI in different ways to help build this emotional connection. And it's kind of this sort of a jazz session with AI where, it's not doing all the way, it's pulling stuff from you. And what we wanted to do is to prompt you to be a better person. So it's not just you prompting AI, it's AI also prompting you, building, marketing and stories and things that we can tell about your business to help tell these better stories that emotionally connect with people. Because we'll go back to that, 306% lifetime value increase if we can build that emotional connection. So we have all kinds of tools in there designed on building that emotional connection in your marketing.
And that's for your clients, or do people have access to play around with
Anyone
that?
can go there and play with it, test it out for sure. We actually do use it for our clients. Like we'll go through, our account managers actually use the tool and just pull together, different elements of it just as far as our process goes. But anyone can go there. There's a lot of tools in there, a lot of different ways to help build that emotional connection with your customer base.
That's really taking AI an audience. This is powerful. I'm going to tell you why. He's taking AI and making it human. Like you want to make people better humans, you're making AI a better human. It's not human, I know, but because
But
everybody talks about. Go ahead.
I was gonna say we've got to right now. We've got
Yeah.
to because I've worked in AI, prior to this latest, sort of change in AI, where we're back on the advertising side, and we would always be using AI to optimize towards some sort of goal. And
Mm.
if that goal or that conversion was off in some ways, AI didn't care. It still optimized toward a bad goal. It just would go that way, right? So now, if you think about the world that we're living in with this new AI, if we have it optimizing solely toward producing profit, it's not going to care about people. It's not going to care about planet. It's not going to care about your relationships with, your community, right? So what we really want to do is take it and help build more of this conscious capitalist approach to AI so that it's optimizing all of these things when it's helping people make decisions about their business. So that was really kind of one of the impulses of starting this, the programming that we got into with this was because we saw that as a problem. And it's still probably going to be a problem, but the more of us that can get out there and kind of really infuse love and empathy,
Yeah.
into AI, I think in these foundational stages, we'll be better off for it in long term.
Yeah, if we could just reduce it because humans are humans, and it'll never go away completely. It will
Yeah.
always be there, but we can drop it a percent. So I'll get his contact information. AI CMO. You can reach out, and I'll get Steve's information later. You said a word that's really important to me: purpose. Again, when I talk to business owners, half of them don't know what their purpose is or think it is. It's like I want to save the whales, but he's a CPA firm. Well, that doesn't jive.
Let's
Talk
try and
about
make it
how.
jive. Let's figure that out.
Yeah,
There might
yeah,
be a
that's a.
way.
Yeah, yeah, you
But
probably could do it. That's how awesome you are. But
yeah,
talk
we've
about the
got a tool.
purpose.
We've got a tool in there. It's called the Purpose Builder, and it's
Yeah.
literally
Oh,
asking you,
really?
yeah, asking you all these questions about your business, and it comes back with some different approaches on building that purpose because we need that for the other tools in there to kind of use it as a guide rail. Is this higher purpose? But it takes you through an exercise that you can AI can help you, and you can take 5 minutes, or you can go through it yourself, and it could take up to an hour, depending on how detailed you want to get. But it is like you said, it's so important, and most businesses they haven't articulated, they don't know how to articulate it, but it's so foundational to not just your marketing, but to your retention, to your employees, to every part of your business. Because ultimately, when you have articulated a good purpose, like I said, purpose is the boss at some point. That's what everyone sort of starts optimizing toward. And that's
Yeah.
what takes us from being disengaged to engaged, because you start getting people who are aligned with that purpose. They want to work for your company, and now they're passionate about this, and suddenly you've got this passionate workforce. So you've probably
There.
preached about
Yeah.
that
No,
over and
no.
over. But
Keep preaching it. We need to say it over repetitively so people get it. That's how we got it. We heard so many, at least I did. And Darren Hardy says,
Mhm.
throw away passion. I'm like, listening to him, like, well, it's purpose because passion can go away. I could be
Yeah, and
passionate
this is a
about doing
guy who's
nothing.
very passionate when he speaks in it, right? You're like that.
So
And
you
he's
know
saying,
Darren, yeah, and he's
yeah,
been with
yeah,
successful
exactly.
people and talk about extreme success. But he's right. I could be passionate about golfing 20 years ago. I haven't golfed in 20 years. I lost my passion because it's not part of my purpose. I don't have time to spend 5 hours a day golfing because I got to work because I got a purpose for my. And I always want to make that point. This is why I love what you're doing, and we'll get access to you because that tool you talked about, I'm going to share with a ton of people because you're just making it easier.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do, is make it easier. And yeah, that whole passion purpose thing, I think we're also in this strange part of our culture where we've got this hustle culture where people
Mhm.
confuse, oh, I'm passionate but why are they getting burnt out? Because you aren't really passionate about it. Steve, you and I know, like, there's that mindset shift though, once you really find that higher purpose in what you're doing, where you don't get burnt out, right? Where you're just like, I could just go forever talking about this, whatever. If you're someone, if you don't kind of know what that feeling is in your work, which is, like I said, probably 4 out of 5 people are out there, maybe there's like a hobby or something that you love. Imagine thinking that same way kind of about work, where it's like, oh no, I just love kind of doing this because I can see the greater good I'm doing, or how it impacts people's lives and how I'm in service to others.
Jeff Bezos comes to my mind as an example of that guy. Not being political, you hate him, that doesn't matter. But he kept his purpose going because he could have failed many, and a lot of guys, Elon Musk and a lot of these very successful people, the purpose kept them driving. The course changed, the passion changed a little bit, but the ultimate purpose, whatever that was, they found was powerful. AI can be dark. What's a tip you can leave the audience? Because everybody should be using it. I know you agree, I agree. But how do we keep it from going dark on us?
I think I think a lot of people where it really feels dark is it's almost this dark night of the soul for them in some way where something that they're passionate about, it could be like art or it could be writing or something, and suddenly they see kind of this AI just spin something up really quickly. um, I feel like then they feel a little disconnected from their art and things like that, and that's how you really get that darkness with AI. But I do think, like, artists and people, like I mentioned, if you can treat it as a jazz session, as a co-creation in some way, um, and think about what you're doing, how you can build love into this jazz session or co-creation in some way, I think that will take us from this darkness, in a lot of ways. But it's still, I mean, we're going to have people using it and we're going to get steamrolled by it. Employees are going to get steamrolled by it. And that's why we really have to try and have businesses take on more of a conscious capitalist approach to what they're doing so that when they use AI, they're thinking about the way it's impacting lives. Because there's a lot of people out there who probably don't even know it yet, who are just going to someday realize they're just been replaced, um, you know, in bulk by
Yeah,
some AI doing something. So I think if we can work with it and treat it as a jazz session, but try and figure out how to infuse love into what we're doing with it, um, that's really the way to go forward.
I love that. I'm writing down, how can your AI make a human impact? Not just an impact, because you could do an AI and write a book, throw it on Amazon, and
Yeah,
it's not
use
good.
it. Use it to prompt you to be a better person in
Yeah,
some way.
yeah, that's perfect. What's one practice that you can give the audience? There are a lot of entrepreneurs on here. There are big business owners with big teams that they could do weekly to bring more empathy into their business.
So I'm going back to my bliss because I've seen it work
Yeah.
is auditing your business by what's the loving thing to do here with this system or with this other. So it's even just, hey, I do this every week. If I added this one part where it's empathetic to my customer or something where, I'm building some sort of deeper connection with it, this is the loving way to approach that. Who knows what that is for you? Um, just do it that one time. So what you've done here, if you've added some love into some sort of system in your work, you've kind of left a mark by yourself there. You've left a little bit of a legacy of love by yourself, and so you could step away from it. And the fact that it's in a system now, that part of you, that loving part of you, is still going on and creating this ripple effect out there. So just doing that once, just figuring out how to do that once, you're making a little bit of a legacy. You're making a mark for yourself. And if you do that weekly, once a week, figure out some way that after the end of the year, you got 50 of those. And how much is this going to be changing your business? And how big of an impact will you have on your business and the people that come in touch with your business and this ripple effect? And so when they go home to their families and everything, um, it can make a massive change just doing that one little thing, and making sure it's part of a system so it's not a random act of kindness. We know you're great out there and you light up the room, but when you leave, you take all that with you, and you aren't leaving quite that legacy that you could have just by trying to figure out a way to systemize some of those beautiful moments and things that you bring to what you do.
I'm love. I keep saying love, I guess, because we're talking about love, because we honor our KPIs, we honor our financials, we honor all that part of our business. So you just bring another arm to it or another tree branch to this, audit your love in your business with bliss and be able to see where you're at. So we're coming to the end here. A startup that's listening or somebody thinking about starting a business, I think they have an advantage because they can start with that love culture right away.
Yeah.
If Joe Smith's the president and he walks away and he's been a real bad president, well, you've got that bad culture. You got to turn into love. How would a startup bring bliss into it?
So one of the things I think of with startups is you're going to have a lot of energy. You're going to be working really hard. You want to make sure, like we talked about, uh, that purpose is really, you've really thought about a higher purpose in what you're doing. You've really thought about how you're truly in service to someone else, not just that you're offering them this product. How does this product or this service that you're offering change their lives, or how can it change their lives? Once you kind of can articulate that higher purpose, then you're going to have a lot of that energy. You're going to attract people who find this kind of work meaningful, and the younger generations coming into the workforce, they're looking for this. And if you're in a startup, you may be lean, they're willing to sacrifice salary even for something that really connects and speaks to them. And this is how you kind of create that movement culture with what you're doing. So make sure you've got that articulated, and make sure it's something you obviously are passionate about, because you're the one trying to push this boulder, and now you're trying to get other people to push this same boulder. And so if you're all kind of passionate about this purpose, I think that's where you need to start, you know, and one of those foundational principles. And I've seen it all the time. We talk to all these business owners who were like, it changed my life when I realized we had to do this and this and this in our community or something like that. It changed our business. And so that's what gives them the energy. That's what, really helps you kind of blow up as a startup, I think, if you can tap into that.
Audience, that's $1 million golden nugget. I mean that. A lot of you out there have potentials to be multi-million dollar businesses. That is a game changer, because I've never heard somebody tell me, Steve, oh, I left that company. It was too much fun. They liked me too much. They cared about me. Have you ever heard that? I've never heard that.
No, absolutely not. I mean, it's like, unless it's maybe for some other like crazy
Yeah,
opportunity, right? But like I said, we have employees coming back after that. They're like,
there you
yeah, that
go.
was a good opportunity. It was great. I got a new title and everything, but I want to come back because it's just a grind out there. Sometimes when after you kind of taste this sort of culture in there, it's like you realize what's important in your life. And, yeah, you've got those bottom lines, but you can expand that to like a triple bottom line from, just profit. You can go to profit, people, planet, and feel a little more wholeness in your life on a daily basis. And so, if you don't know what to do with your business at any time, I always say just try and figure out what the loving thing to do is.
And I just came up with a great idea. Audience, because we get bonuses for sales, marketing, companies do that. Hey, companies, why don't you think about this and reach out to me or Steve? How about you give a bonus for somebody taking care of a customer? Buy
We
them a Amazon gift card. You do that?
Yeah, this is our journey. Like literally yesterday, I got a tally from, so we have these self-managed pods, so we're trying to empower employees and everything. But I got a tally from them of their bonuses, and we call these are bliss statistics for us. It's like that good review from the customer, that the number of kind of, we give out these gifts to customers. Well, let's see how many of those you gave out. And so there's all these kind of connecting good sort of things you can do for customers, and we'll bonus that on top of that, because we know, um, against our peers, we're a digital marketing agency, and Google has brought us these numbers, and they've shown our retention is like through the roof compared to everybody else. And we know it's just, we want to build genuine connections with people. So but if we aren't even having data on that, I want to make sure we have data points so that we're optimizing toward that as a group. So we can be a little methodical about this love business if we want to, because I know there's a lot of leaders out there. They need the data. But there's all kinds of data points you can put together on these things. And these are really leading indicators of success down the line. It may not be the sale or whatever, or the lifetime value, but these are leading indicators of that, is when you track these sort of loving elements in your business.
Man, you're channeling me. I can't believe you do. I guess I just felt that because it's, I'm brilliant that you do that. And we're going to end here. But audience, it could be as simple as this. You get a testimonial because one of your sales guys, even if he didn't get a sale, he was so kind. He knew your business. Send him $20. Send him an Amazon, Starbucks gift. I don't care, but reward them. It will double and compound and grow and grow and grow. I know it. I know Steve knows it.
Yep.
Let's end with this great question. Let's do a little improv. Let's get out of business. We definitely know you're the expert of love in business. So I've got a table at a restaurant. Me and you are going to sit there. who would you invite to sit at that table, dead or alive, the three people you've always wanted to talk to? And the more important question is, Steve, what food are you going to order for me and the table?
Oh, that's too much pressure. I
I
mean,
know. Anxiety.
not it's the food. That's the pressure. Like what? So, um, I mean, I probably wouldn't mind having tacos with like Jesus and Buddha and trying to think. I need a third one here somewhere. Let's say let's say Gandhi. Let's throw Gandhi in there. But I'm trying to think of something to change gears a little bit more than that, like you know, Muhammad Ali or someone
Ooh,
just to just to stir the pot a little bit more. I think that'd be a great taco dinner, Taco Tuesday sometime.
I don't know if Gandhi would eat it, but I think everybody else will. Jesus will
Well, hey,
definitely try it.
you can have mushroom tacos. You can
Yeah,
have
that's there
yeah,
you
there's all
go.
kinds of
I love
potato
it.
tacos.
It's a great answer. Well, Steve, you truly have love in the business. You're sharing it. I love what you're doing. I keep saying that. You've been a great guest. I know people listening, they want to learn about the purpose tool that we mentioned. How can they get a hold of you and learn more all about you?
Yeah, you can easily go to aicmo.io and check out our AI Chief Marketing Officer there. There's, free trial you can sign up for there. You can look up the Bliss Business Podcast. So every week, a couple times a week, I get to ask CEOs basically what role does love play in their business, or what's love got to do with it? And we get some really interesting answers. Every one of them is usually kind of different in some way. It's kind of fascinating to me watching uh, them answer these questions. And we're had that question asked over, I guess, 100 and something times, and we're on show 230 something. So,
Congratulations. It's
there's a
awesome.
lot of content there.
I love having hosts as guests. You make my job so easy. Not that it was hard before. Let me be honest to say it's not hard, but thank you, because I was going to ask about your podcast and you filled it in. And Steve, thanks again for taking the time, motivating, inspiring, and educating our guest and audience. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. And here's why, or the podcast, because he just gave us a gift. You're like, what's the gift? Well, you're talking to somebody who's like, my culture, my business sucks. There's HR director for a company. Go have them listen to Steve for about 15 minutes. I guarantee you 95%, it's not these, very few things are 100%. They will probably get something from it or reach out and go to aicmo.ai to learn more, because I learned a lot today. I got a bunch of notes. These are gifts that we can do. And take Steve's podcast, listen to his, subscribe. Same thing. If somebody resonates with somebody send it out. Go, hey, listen, that's why we make these 20, 30 minutes. They can read a portion or listen to a portion of it or watch, and it changes their lives. That's what this is all about. Doing business with a servant's heart, making that impact. With that being said, me and Steve want to thank everyone for watching or listening to this podcast, and we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.